Morning, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I'm doing great because, Black Ops 7 keeps surprising me, to be honest, in multiple ways. Obviously, the campaign surprised me, and I think everybody with how god-awful it was. The multiplayer has surprised me with how little I actually care about it. But the biggest surprise, honestly, is how much I am loving the zombies. Say whatever you want about the multiplayer, and especially the campaign, but the zombies in this game is unironically awesome. And I largely attribute that to the maps. Both of the maps in this game are awesome and genuinely are both better than any of the Black Ops 6 maps. And I think I enjoy these maps so much for multiple reasons. One, their vibe is great. That was one of the biggest complaints about Black Ops 6, is that maps, especially like Liberty Falls, just didn't really feel like zombies maps with their aesthetic, but Ashes of the Damned and Astra Malorum absolutely nailed the zombies feel. So there's that, their layouts are great, and also the Easter eggs are great. I've completed both of them. In fact, at the time of recording this, I just finished beating the Astra Malorum one, and I had a great time. The Wonder Weapon is so cool. So yeah, as expected, zombies is going to be carrying this game. It seems like for the entire year. But anyway, why am I glazing zombies in this game so much? Well, I'm sure you all have heard of Angry Joe at this point. He's been around for literally over a decade and a half, and he recently released his Black Ops 7 review, which honestly, he should have just called it the Black Ops 7 campaign review, because that's what he spends like 95% of the video talking about. And then he talks a little bit about multiplayer and zombies. And I think all his complaints about the campaign were perfectly valid, honestly. But I also think he should have just stuck to that video being specifically about the campaign, because once he started talking about the zombies, that's when he started saying some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard him say. Now, Joe admits himself he has never been a big zombies guy, and you can definitely tell. But that doesn't change the fact that his takes on zombies were absolutely terrible, and that's what I want to talk about today. But before we get into that, if you keep coming back to my channel and watching my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, then please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it, and it would bring me a little bit of joy in this time where finals have been absolutely kicking my ass, which is why videos have become far less frequent. Just one more week, and then I'm free. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into Angry Joe's complaints about not just BO7 zombies, but zombies in general.
Just about the only good thing in Black Ops 7 is the zombies mode. And that's only if you're a fan of zombies in the first place, which for me, it doesn't really get me going. You get a bit more of an open format where you could drive a truck between points of interest, the big map, and then multiple maps, do waves of zombies, harder and harder waves and bosses, and extract. And in classic zombies fashion, I have no fucking idea what the story is unless you look up a YouTube guide on how to do some of the most obscure shit with no one in the right mind finds out naturally. I just don't get hiding such a big aspect and these well-produced cutscenes and story bits behind this quote-unquote convoluted Easter egg stuff.
Joe, I mean this sincerely. If you know this little about zombies and you just care this little about it as a whole, that you don't even understand the fun behind the Easter eggs, just don't include it in your review, man. Like I said before, this should have just been a campaign review. That's what 95% of the video was about anyway. And it's clear that that's the only part of the game you actually gave a damn about. And Joe, the reason this stuff is so hidden is because the hunt for the Easter eggs each time a new map comes out is a massive part of the fun of zombies. It's insanely fun every time a new map comes out. Everybody gets on, like tens of thousands, if not sometimes maybe hundreds of thousands of people get on. They start playing and they start finding stuff. And especially once you've played zombies for a decent amount of time, you start to notice little things on each map. Like, this thing is a little out of place. I wonder why this would be there. Maybe it's part of the Easter egg. The way I think of zombies Easter eggs is almost like a more complicated version of Helldivers 2 Major Orders, where it's a massive community effort. Everybody comes together, they start looking for stuff on the map. When people find stuff, they share information, and everything gets pieced together until eventually we figure out how to get to the final boss fight and beat it. Also, Joe acts like it takes months for these Easter eggs to get figured out. Granted, there are still some Easter eggs that have not been figured out yet, mainly on older zombies games. Nowadays, it only takes the zombies community, like, up to 12 hours to figure out the main Easter egg. And Treyarch was really playing into that whole community working together to find the Easter egg aspect this year. because the relics in Curse mode on Black Ops 7 Zombies were not unlocked until the first person was able to beat the main Easter egg on Ashes of the Damned. Not to mention, with Black Ops 6 last year, they started adding a directed mode a month after each map comes out, which literally gives you a step-by-step guide on how to do the Easter egg, and even caps the rounds for you so it doesn't get too hard. Also, I'd just like to point out, I'm cutting out a lot of footage here because it's just filler and whatnot, but Joe is clearly playing this mode with somebody who knows exactly how to do the Easter egg, and Joe just seems completely disinterested the entire time. Like, he's not even trying to get involved with it or understand it. Not to mention, the furthest we ever see him get in this video, like in the footage he's showing, is waking up Klaus, which is a very early step in the Easter egg. So yeah, obviously you don't know the story, you're barely getting anywhere with the Easter egg. If you just play it, it's pretty damn simple. Look, I'll give you a synopsis right now off the top of my head. After the events of Reckoning in Black Ops 6, both of the zombies crews get stuck in the dark ether. This mysterious figure called the Warden shows up and drains them of their life energy, and they have to fight to get it back. On Ashes of the Damned, they end up finding this entity which guides them along the way and helps them, and eventually leads them to the boss fight of Ashes of the Damned, who, once you defeat him, is revealed to be a Shadow Smith, and he's able to give life back to two of the party members, specifically Dempsey and Maya, and then the entity teleports you away before you can be found and sends you to Astra Malorum. The steps of the Easter egg are complicated, but the story itself really isn't. That is, assuming you actually make progress in the Easter egg. Anyway, I think I've spent long enough on this point. Let's go ahead and move on to his next complaint.
This year, the Ashes of the Damned, it's too damn big. It's too time-consuming to do the Easter egg process. It's unwieldy and frustrating when you die over and over. You can't do shit until level 16. It's just not, it's frustrating.
Now, I will give him this. The Ashes of the Damned Easter egg is quite long. It's one of the longest Easter eggs I think Zombies has ever had. And it will take you multiple attempts. Like, there's basically no way around it. If you somehow don't lose at least once to the final boss, even after it got nerfed, I guess you're just a god gamer. Or maybe I suck. It's probably that. But I think it's funny that he complains that it's too difficult and too time-consuming. Because like I just said, yes, the Easter egg takes a while. However, just take a look at this one bit of gameplay that Joe put in his own video, because I think this will show why he thinks it's so time-consuming and difficult.
Bring that zombie around. Someone could take this. And then this robot right here, I'm going to throw some stun grenades into his cell.
Now, I will give him this. The Ashes of the Damned Easter egg is quite long. It's one of the longest Easter eggs I think Zombies has ever had. And it will take you multiple attempts. Like, there's basically no way around it. If you somehow don't lose at least once to the final boss, even after it got nerfed, I guess you're just a god gamer. Or maybe I suck. It's probably that. But I think it's funny that he complains that it's too difficult and too time-consuming. Because like I just said, yes, the Easter egg takes a while. However, just take a look at this one bit of gameplay that Joe put in his own video, because I think this will show why he thinks it's so time-consuming and difficult. No offense, Joe, but you're not exactly the best at this game. I mean, for God's sakes, it's round 11, you haven't even packed yet. You have 2,000 salvage just sitting there. You could be getting a blue weapon right now, but you just are still sitting on a green one. Not to mention, you can't aim to save your life. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he never actually made it to the final boss fight, or even close for that matter. Also, don't think I missed the fact that earlier Joe was complaining that you have to make it to round 16 to do a step of the Easter egg. There is so much more setup you can be doing before round 16, not to mention you don't even need to kill the bear technically at round 16. You can just go and check in the lab what parts you need, and there's a chance you might not even need the bear part, so you can just bypass that step entirely. But even still, round 16 is not hard to get to whatsoever. I mean, I guess for me and most of the Zombies community, and clearly Joe was struggling. And I'd just like to say as well, if Joe's complaining about the map being too big, he clearly had no idea about the launch pads. Like, Joe, you do know that you don't have to drive between each location, right? You can take a launch pad that gets you to each place in a few seconds. Whatever, let's keep going.
Especially with random matchmaking. If you don't have 3 other buddies that are ready to fucking do this shit, you're just not gonna get it done.
Bro, why would you ever play with people in random matchmaking? Like, why is that even a thought that crossed your mind? You have no idea if they're gonna want to do the Easter egg or not. No, duh, it's gonna be better if you play with your buddies. Also, no, you absolutely do not need 3 other friends unless, I guess, you need to be carried as hard as possible. Me and Delta, as a duo, did the entire Easter egg, including killing the boss, in just over an hour. And yeah, there were times before that where we died or got stuck on certain parts. We probably died like at least 3 or 4 times to the boss before we actually beat it. Guess what? That's part of the experience. You go in, you die, you learn something, you get better, you try it again. If you can't handle it, especially after it got nerfed, then I mean, I guess it's just not for you. Which is fine, it doesn't have to be for you, but then don't just come in here and say it should be easier and that the map should be smaller just because you're bad at it.
And sometimes I feel like they make it hard to do on purpose. So you give in and buy more gobbledygumps to make the shit easier because, of course, they sell gobblegumps.
Oh god, alright, here we go again with the whole gobblegums thing. I'm just gonna make the same point I did in my last video where I talked about that god-awful IGN review. I agree, they should not be selling gobblegums at all. It shouldn't be an option to buy them, in my opinion. However, if you just play zombies normally, you get handed gobblegums at very regular intervals. I'm gonna show the exact same footage I showed last time. All of these gobblegums you're seeing are ones that I just earned by playing the game. I have never once bought a gobblegum pack in either BO6 or 7. And saying that they make it hard so you buy gobblegums, that just sounds like such a stretch, dude. Especially considering they nerfed the fight. You gotta keep that in mind. They made it easier. If they really did just want you to buy gobblegums and that's why they made it so hard, they wouldn't have nerfed it. I'm all for criticizing shady corporate practices, but that just sounds like such a reach to me.
It's in my opinion that these should be more of a part of the normal zombies experience, that all people can experience it, and an Easter egg should be like an exclusive boss or character that factors only in if you do some of the crazy stuff and it swaps out a boss or swaps out a cameo. Something like that, if you do all the convoluted stuff. I just don't get it. And I probably never will.
But gobblegums are a part of the normal zombies experience. If you keep playing zombies, then you'll keep getting gobblegums. And the Easter egg does give you access to an exclusive boss. Like, what are you talking about? You cannot fight the final boss of Ashes of the Damned if you do not do the Easter egg. There's also an exclusive upgrade for Tessie that you can only get if you do the Easter egg steps. Granted, you don't have to beat the whole thing, but you have to get like halfway through it, which based on everything I'm hearing from this review, it doesn't sound like you even made it that far. I don't know, man. This feels like the equivalent of somebody who doesn't like Souls games playing Elden Ring, getting to Godric, killing him, and then just complaining about it in a review, and he doesn't do anything beyond that. That's honestly what it feels like. I know I've said it a bunch now, but if the mode just isn't your thing, then don't review it. Like I said before, this video was mostly talking about the campaign. I think if this was just a campaign review specifically, it would have been completely fine. Although, in that case, I would want him to change his score from a 2 out of 10 to a 0 out of 10. God, I hate that campaign so much. But at least Zombies is great. I'm genuinely really happy with how it came out. And if they keep pumping out post-launch content like this and all the future maps are just as great as Astra Malorum, then we're gonna be eating good for the next year. But yeah, anyway guys, with all that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And really quick, I guess I'll just ask, do you like zombies in Black Ops 7? Have you even bothered picking up Black Ops 7? Or are you just steering clear entirely? Because I honestly couldn't really blame you that much unless you were a big zombies guy. Be sure to let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, join us every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on the gaming channel for gaming streams, and consider becoming a channel member if you want Discord access and awesome emotes, and I will catch you all next time.